Hi Leo, this is your September 2020 tarot forecast. So this is for Leo Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, guys. So if your Venus is in Leo rather, you can treat this like a love or romance or even creativity reading in terms of inspiration. Otherwise, we're looking at emotions, behavior, and direction for the month. All right, so Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. What does Leo need to know for September 2020? Tempted to look, but they're not upright, so I'll just leave them be. Messages for Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus for alrighty. So we do have Justice with the Two of Swords, really facing something head on, getting clarity on something, removing the veil around an idea or information, or even who to trust, data, information, communication. But justice could be very important to that. Also, how you're speaking and relating. Cosmic justice will be served. So if there has been conflict or confusion in your own mind, Leo, clarity will be provided to you. It'll be interesting to see if they show up in your Celtic cross today as well. Messages for Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus for September. I was going to say August. September 2020. September 2020. All right, guys. So let's get out your Celtic cross for you. As always, you can expect a card from each of the oracle decks to polish off your reading. So let's get into, all right, the situation. Okay, you're ready for something to be over. Maybe you're tired of the boredom. Wow, a couple of fours. So things are stable anyway. You could just be bored with a little bit of stability. Maybe they went from stable to stagnant. Wow, okay, so I'm definitely going to qualify that moon. Can we qualify the moon? Qualify the moon as the outcome card for Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus for September 2020. Qualify the moon as the advice card. The moon as the advice. Qualify the moon. I'm going to do this right now, guys, because I know I'm going to get a qualifier on that to polish off your reading. Just because that, the moon presents a couple of more questions for me than it does actual advice. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what it's qualified with as well. So if there's a shadow self or something hidden or maybe not looked at or in the shadows, we'll see what that's going to be about here. It's very, very, not going to lie, I'm very curious about taking all these cards here, but in the interest of time, I think I am just going to take one. All right, so yep, so screw that, I'm taking all of them. Okay, so it was just more confusing seeing this 5 there. So we see something having to do with your own sense of freedom, your own sense of financial freedom, entrepreneurial freedom, maybe a little bit of competition here. This could have to do with either your own independent wealth. I'm just looking at this area here. Or how you manage independent wealth. There could be a struggle around independent wealth. There could be some questions, shadow, illusions, fantasies around what it looks like to be free, what it looks like to have some sort of victory here around a competition. So the moon is also ruled by Pisces as a major. The moon is a major arcana. And Pisces is 12th house. Pisces is illusions. It is drama. It's the stage. It's the actor. It's not drama for attention. It's drama for escapism. It's escapism, right? That's what the moon in, ruled by Pisces is. So there could be an element of escapism that you're going to need to face here that has to do with possibly a friendly competition, but a competition nonetheless, where it looks like it's going to affect in one way or another your sense of victory, even pride around independent wealth. Very interesting. So let's get that bottom of the deck card here. Wow, and you could be dealing with a Leo individual. This could have to do exactly with work or enterprise, whether it's you're working for a major corporation, you have your own little business, or anything in between here, guys. Whatever you consider to be an enterprise. It could strictly be creative, right? You could be a homemaker and just have something going on at home. You're developing something new, something exciting, but a creative project here nonetheless. And it could involve the benefactor. You could have an actual individual who's willing to hire you, pay you for a job, invest in you, provide you with opportunities. Again, if this is sort of your Leo Venus reading, if you're going to treat this like a love romance reading, you could have a lot of success in this area regarding 5th house, right? So creativity, love, romance, also family. Okay, your family unit. So growth potential within your family unit. But you could be dealing with an exact Leo here, or someone who has Leonian qualities, right? So someone who is really effervescent, who's 10 to 1 going to be pretty honest, pretty open, wear their heart in their sleeve, right? They're pretty proud about what they love. There's a great deal of pride here, which, you know, if used constructively is very, very powerful. Also, I find with this energy, there's nothing to prove. Usually when we see the King of Wands here like this, and we see a nice outcome qualifier with the the 6 of Wands over here, we have a nice Ace of Wands over here. So there's a lot of potential here for you to just be given opportunity, given the spotlight, given accolades, etc., versus seeking them, right? So that's really nice as well. Just going over some major themes we have here. We have a lot of major arcanas for you. We have a couple of kings. Let me find out. And then we have 2 4s. We don't have any triplets of your minors here, so I'm not going to stress too much about this, but we do have 2 4s back to back. We're looking at your mind and your emotional world. So a little bit of boredom, rest, and recovery here. So it just looks like I said at the very start, it looks like there could be so much security, so to speak, here that it's become a rut. But we'll get into that in detail in just a second. What was I going to say here? 2 kings I wanted to mention before moving on. I do find this information to be somewhat powerful when we're looking at duplicates or what 2 kings in a reading can mean together as well. So we are looking at actual business opportunities. So yeah, absolutely, that's what I'm seeing here. I would say by the end of the month, it looks like, because there could be a major overhaul or a major transformation, death to the old, the birth of something new here. It could just really be about finding your footing in a new environment that could create some fantasy or hold some fantasy, or just strictly be really deep, and involved in maybe even shadow work, right? Dark night of the soul stuff over here, if that's the case, if this isn't love or business for you, if this is spiritual or even personal development for you. This is really nice because it gives you an opportunity to step up into your own personal strength, and use a sense of drama or use a sense of fantasy possibly to your advantage over here. And it could be a possible sort of reinvention of a situation or even yourself or your viewpoint of something over here. So extremely interesting, particularly the last 2 weeks of the month. Let's just dive in to the situation and what is crossing it, or what is affecting it. So the situation is the 4 of Cups. This is really just, in a word, it's just boredom. There's nothing really heavy or overwhelming about that card, but the 10 of Wands does add some heaviness to that. So there's boredom with something that feels like it may never end, or it's going on way too long, right? We see what this is surrounded by immediately. Rest and recovery over here, maybe about a situation having to do with the Taurus, or possessions. Second house meaning possessions. It could be your voice, singing. Again, this could be about being in the spotlight somehow, whether or not you're putting yourself there or not. You could even just feel like you want to put yourself out there, even if you don't seek the spotlight. Like I said, I feel like it's going to be coming to you. But I think if you maybe get out of this doldrum here, if you get out of this sense of when will this end, it's almost over. It could just be a period of time that's out of your hands as well. I mean, we're still in the age of COVID. So maybe you're just waiting for word. You're waiting to go back to work. You're waiting to start that new position, whatever it is, right? You know, if this is a love reading for you, it could just be that you need a little bit more, you need to pay attention maybe a little bit more to what's going on at home, in your love or romance life, because there could be a little bit of boredom and it could be adding up. But just remember that something that feels like it could be an uphill battle here could feel like it's just generating a sense of boredom. Or even something that was, say, on fire, like something that was exciting, you know, is actually turned out to be a little bit boring, and maybe you hadn't expected that. But so this is the situation. Luckily, things change for the better, definitely. So we have at the foundation the King of Pentacles here, and then mirroring that, right above it, crowning it as the Four of Swords. So the Four of Swords is really just looking at, look, let's just rest and recover around this issue, around the issue of possessions, perhaps a Taurus individual. As I said, you do have, say, even if this is an issue of drama, for example, or expression or the arts, you know, this could just be about your vocal talent, your vocal capabilities, rest and recovery about that or around that, Leo. Otherwise, I would say that it's maybe time to, maybe it's recovered and maybe you need to get back into it or propel yourself in a direction that is creative. Maybe you're bored with the status quo. Maybe you're bored with a lifestyle or decision you had already made, and you feel like there's been enough relaxation and recovery around this issue. That you can take some risk, or, you know, you can now welcome a little bit of excitement, because we have some really exciting energies both in your recent past and then in your near future, which is actually quite gorgeous to see. These are quite complementary together. Recent past is the Temperance card, right? In this deck, she called it the Patience card. Patience is definitely a word associated with temperance, right? It's to temper a situation. It's to temper your expectations. It's to temper your attitude, your emotions, your thought process, right? So this is really nice to see actually here, because it lends the option of just sort of going with the flow for a little bit, maybe just riding something out, not stressing too much, like letting yourself just relax from it. So this is in your recent past. Of course, this is also Jupiter ruled, so there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of potential for expansion, and we certainly see this here in your near future with the Ace of Wands. So absolutely gorgeous, elementally the same as the under the bottom of the deck energy, which is really nice to see, because this is quite complementary to the same thing. So this could very well be not only a new beginning, but explosive creativity. As I said, like maybe even an aha moment, a spark of genius, a sense of even finding and or developing, say, a new process or a new part of how you do things. It's personal development for sure. Inventiveness is very much indicated here. Enthusiasm, ambition. So enormous skills around enterprise, and possibly I would even say, you know, this is a new job, or even the birth of a new child, the birth of something, the birth of a creative project, if not an actual person. So now we're getting into the third and then fourth week. Here we do the Tower and how you see yourself. So this is really you taking yourself to task about collapsing something that just isn't working for you anymore. This is the ultimate dissolution of this, right? The Tower would be the complete collapsing of what isn't working, what wasn't built to last. So how you see yourself, definitely by the third and fourth week of the month here in September, Leo, is someone who is willing to collapse what doesn't work for them anymore. Or this may be offered to you. You see yourself as someone who's on the verge of letting something go, maybe walking away, like I said, maybe saying, you know what, that isn't going to work for me, or I'm ready to move on to the next stage, whatever that is. And this is something that you can use to your advantage. This is Mars energy. It's fiery, and it's quite profound. And it is very transformational. It is very interesting to see. So transformation is the death card. This is ruled by Scorpio, and Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars. Tower is ruled by Mars. So there is enormous force going on. Now, is it your force? Probably not. This is elementally forceful. This is cosmically forceful. But what I'm seeing here, in other words, is that there are a lot of forces behind the scenes that are in the destruction / creation phase of something, which is really remarkable. So big changes, quite likely, at least one major large change, quite likely here by the second and third and fourth week of the month here, guys. But Mars energy is it's very explosive, right? It's the, Mars is the planet of the warrior. It's war. So very interesting to see that there. Let us move on. So how others see you as someone who's longing for the past. This is nostalgia. This is someone who yearns for childhood memories, sweetness, kindness. This is the card of longed for reunions, togetherness, less about a love interest, more about, say, childhood wishes and dreams, right? So, and there could very well be a longing for a reunion here regarding something, you know, deep in your heart, something that pulls on your heartstrings. And here's your hopes and fears, right? So here's the transformation or death card. Just spoke about that being Scorpio ruled. Of course, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars. Now, Pluto and Scorpio is in the same family elementally as Pisces. So interesting to note, Scorpio is also the 8th house, okay? And the 8th house is opposite of the 2nd house. Scorpio is opposite of Taurus. So there could be something having to do with sex, death, and rebirth in terms of families, alliances, even wills and estates here, guys. I don't typically consider the death card a physical death. Heaven forbid that's the case. But it's usually just you know, a major life transformation. Something will never be the same again. You will be transformed by something here. Something that is going to be removed is in your best interest, which is quite exciting overall. Here's where we have that Pisces ruled moon, as I said, as your advice card, which is, like I said, it's a little bit illusion, it's a little bit trickery. It's not bad. It's just what Pisces offers is a little bit of a, do I stay and do I go? The moon is really, you know, as a Pisces ruled, it's mutable. So it can go this way or that way. It kind of feels like it doesn't know where this belongs, right? There's confusion, introspection. There could even be, you know, I might have to face a sense of disappointment or even disillusion here, but you can seek clarity. You can be clear if you just say or do something about it, right? So make sure that you're honest and you require other people's honesty. That's necessary. And then, like I said, you have these qualifiers. I wasn't going to take all of them, but gosh darn it. I think it is important that we do. So qualifying the moon, as I said, as your outcome card or your advice is, you know, in some simple terms, the 5 of Wands here is really just looking at, believe it or not, it's the kindest of the 5s. All 5s are chaotic, but this is more of a friendly competition. This is a lot of personal growth is available to you here. Just make sure you're not making enemies in the process. Independent wealth is really nice to see here as well. And then followed by the 6 of Wands. So again, it's really, And this could just be a surprise for you as well. It could just seem like it's coming out of nowhere because you thought something else was going on that could be happening as well. But this is certainly a personal victory regarding a challenge you had overcome where you had set yourself in a very positive, like independent, there's like refinery and celebration here as well. You're feeling really good about yourself. You're probably even looking really good here as well. And the cool thing about it, like I said, is that I don't think you're going to be chasing this. I think this is just really going to be provided to you. So overall, really nice reading for you. I think there are going to be some major challenges, some major changes here by the 3rd, 4th week for you guys. Not necessarily bad, but just something to be aware of. Perhaps you had already been working on them, or you were aware of them, or perhaps you just needed some confirmation that yes, this is really going on. It's not your imagination, but really, really interesting, guys. I don't see technically any relational cards specifically in terms of couples, but there are 2 men, right? So there's 2 kings. Very, very interesting. I do see success at the very end of the month for you all the same, but it could feel dramatic and it could feel like you have a lot of questions about it. So Leo, for your oracles, we have children are involved. So children are definitely playing a part, yours, someone else's, wanting children, talking about children, feeling like if this is a new child, yeah, this could be a new child for real. And a new, you know, if you're a fur baby mom or dad, it could just be a new fur baby, right? It doesn't have to be a human. And you could be dating someone who has a child, even if you don't, or vice versa. So you have whale, we have record keeper over here. This is really deep emotional, both wounds and healing. So healing potential is available if you feel that that's necessary. Make sure you get in touch with the deepest parts of your psyche, perhaps even whether or not you fear or are compelled towards something. It might be a nice time for you to get the reasons behind why you would be directed that way. If you want to learn more about, if you have questions, especially by the end of the month here, about why you've done something or what you were looking for and what you expected. We do have TikTok. I do find this card to be speaking to both time and timelessness. So now is the right time. It could have always been the right time. It will never be the right time, this type of thing here with TikTok. But more importantly, it is, what I find about this is is going to speak to eternal, something eternal here. It's just yours. It already is. It already exists. It's already yours. So nothing to chase. There's nothing to chase here, which is really interesting for you. Even though something is definitely going to be a challenge, and it could just be your own heart and mind here, guys. Really nice. If this is a love reading for you or otherwise, attraction, you attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. Guys, and honeymoon, enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. Stunning reading for you. I'm going to leave it there though. I got really late into your reading, 24 minutes. Thank you for joining me. Definitely check out your sun, moon, risings if you're cross watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.